The familiar game is being played in Pakistan with the army, which is the main player, the civilian politicians are bystanders, and the general public claps once in a while. Now, while the game is familiar, what is new this time is that the army chief, an ambitious army chief, wants to become more than just pulling the strings from the back. He wants to take over full control. But he doesn't want to do that through a military coup, but he wants to do that constitutionally. Can he? I'm joined by my friend Ishan Prakash, who's director at ANI and a journalist, to help us unpack what is happening in Pakistan. Welcome, Ishan.
Thank you, Tilak sir. And you may have noticed we have changed the location of your podcast, of your explainers this time around. This time we're in the rooftop of the ANI building, and this is still the location of our satellite services. So before the whole digital technology boom and all that, we used to monitor Pakistani channels in the region, essentially using these satellite dishes, downlink them and monitor it, see what's going on over there. Because कभी-कभी blackout हो जाता था internet का तो वो stream ही नहीं होता था. But the good old-fashioned satellite technology still functions, and we thought
a very historic site.
So we thought that it's evolving. Yeah. So we thought it's a nice place. Plus we have the entire Delhi Vista over here to start talking about everything.
Yeah.
So this particular topic that now we are going to discuss is about Asim Munir, where he is, what he intends to do as on date. So now let's rewind back to when Asim Munir strolled into the White House. When you saw those visuals for the first time, what came to your mind?
You know, from his body language, it was obvious that he was very disturbed. The fact that he had to walk to the porch of the White House and not go there in a limousine, that in itself I thought was, you could make out from his body language that he was uncomfortable. You see, also in the back of his mind, all the previous army chiefs like Ayub Khan, Zia and Musharraf had gone in a limousine up to the porch because they were also presidents. Asim Munir was only the army chief, even though he'd elevated himself as field marshal, but he had to walk. I think the whole lunch couldn't have tasted too good because of this one particular aspect. So I think that is what is going through his mind.
So his ego took a beating.
Big beating.
So when he went back to Pakistan, he carried that baggage with him?
Yeah, absolutely. And all the things that are happening are to a large extent geared that he becomes the president. Now you see, the pitfall in that is that the current incumbent, Asif Zardari, is no lightweight. He is a heavyweight politician, and to try and edge him out of the presidency is going to be a tall task. The two tasks are there. One, getting rid of Zardari, and second, a serving officer cannot become president. You cannot hold an office of profit and then become a president. So he needs a constitutional amendment to make sure that as serving army chief, he can take over as president.
So you are making this assessment that he now harbors political sort of ambitions. How does he go about doing that? Do we have to rewind back to July 2024 and sort of essentially the Supreme Court, when it had reserved seats for all parties over there to have equal representation in Parliament, and then what happened after that with the special amendment, which is Constitutional Amendment 26. Could you just explain all that's happened?
So, you know, one step even back to see what kind of a manipulative and a far thinking guy Asim Munir is. He was promoted as 3-star in 2018. He should have joined and taken over his 3-star rank in September of 2018. All his batchmates who were so promoted did that, and so they retired in September 2022. 4 years. Lieutenant General's tenure is 4 years. But this man didn't. He disappeared for 2 months.
Where did he go?
Nobody knows. I mean, at least I don't know where he went. But it's very surprising that a person at that level does not pick up his rank immediately. कि कल को पता नहीं क्या हो जाएगा, let me at least take my rank. He joined on 22nd November and not in September. So by the time his turn came for retirement, all these batchmates had retired. He was the senior most Lieutenant General to be considered to succeed Bajwa, the army chief. But he would have retired on 27th November. Bajwa retired on 29th November. So the government stepped in and gave him a 2-day extension so that he could then take over. So he had thought in 2018, okay, this is what is going to happen. Bajwa retires in November 29th. I must be around that time to be considered for army chief and then manipulate to get my extension done. So he's a real manipulative kind of a guy. Now coming to the present, you see, as per the provisions of the Pakistan Constitution, there are 266 directly elected seats and there are 70 seats that are reserved for women and minorities. These are allotted on the basis of proportional representation, depending on the number of seats a party has won in the elections. So based on that, the Election Commission was supposed to have distributed these seats. The Election Commission did not give any seats to the PTI because it didn't fight the elections as a party, as independents, because they were not given the bat symbol. They went to the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court in July 2024 gave them the seats, asked the Election Commission to give the seats. But can you imagine? The Election Commission refused to comply with the orders of the Supreme Court. Even though this was the decision of the full bench of the Supreme Court, the Election Commission and the government refused to do it.
And in the seat split, the PTI would be...
they would be the largest party. Had they got those seats, they would be the largest party in the assembly.
Bad news for Asim Munir.
Yeah, bad news for him. But not the one to give up. So they rammed through the 26th Constitutional Amendment. And what it did was to split the Supreme Court. They set up a bench of called a constitutional bench of the Supreme Court, which will deal with these constitutional matters, and the normal Supreme Court with the normal cases. This constitutional bench was packed with favorable judges. And they overturned the decision of the full bench of the Supreme Court. Most unusual.
Is there a precedent for this?
I don't know. At least, being Pakistan, anything is possible.
Right.
So
judges overturned judges
Yeah.
in the apex judiciary.
In the apex court.
Yeah.
And that was the full bench. You see, normally the full bench decisions are inviolable. That's it. In any case, they overturned it. And they said, no, PTI cannot have these reserved seats. And they should be allotted to the parties which are in parliament and in the states, in the provinces. Now, the absurd situation is that in a province like KPK, the PMLN has 3 directly elected MNAs. They've got 5 seats. More.
And this is Imran Khan's PTI's Gad jaise kaise.
Yeah. The PPP has 1 elected, but they've got 2 seats. So this makes total mockery of proportional representation and total mockery of democracy. So in any case, having manipulated this, the PMLN government in the National Assembly has a 2/3 majority to push a constitutional amendment.
What are the ramifications of this? Now that essentially it's the PMLN and PPP alliance which holds power,
Yeah.
how does this benefit Asim
So
Munir?
Asim Munir can now get whatever he wants. It's a pliable government. Whatever constitutional amendment he wants, which means allowing a person holding an office of profit to serve as president, they can ram it. But he won't be happy only with that. He wants an empowered presidency. That if he's going to be president, he doesn't want to be a constitutional president. He wants to be a president with full powers. Something on the basis of the Sri Lankan executive presidency or the French presidency or something like that. So the constitutional amendment, so the rumors are, we don't know. But this is what is going to happen. And also they may use this opportunity to dilute the 18th constitutional amendment and the National Finance Commission award, which the army feels devolved too many powers and too much of money to the provinces.
At the time when the 18th Amendment was done, if I'm not mistaken, this is around 2010, this was considered a very positive movement by Pakistan. I mean, it sort of devolved powers more to the provinces. They had more autonomy to do this. Now, if it strips off the 18th Amendment, then essentially all power lies within the 26th Amendment. The 26th Amendment has all the powers, and essentially one figurehead can run the country.
Yeah. So, earlier the provinces would say that this is too centralized a country. You would have to devolve power to the provinces, on education, on health, on these issues. The provinces should be in a position to legislate and act on that. Likewise, the National Finance Commission award increased the revenue being devolved to the provinces. Now, the army says that because you have given so much money to the provinces, हमारा budget कम हो गया. So get that money back and give it to the defense budget. But here's the catch. You see, the amendment was passed under the PPP. So the PPP will object to dilution of the 18th Amendment and dilution of the NFC award. And without the PPP support, the PMLN can't push through the constitutional amendment.
What do you think Zardari would do in a situation like this?
Exactly, for him it's absolutely, But I think at this stage in his life, what Zardari is looking for is to get Bilawal set and something major. He's already leader of the opposition. Maybe they'll give him something else. So that's his ambition. So he may be
safeguard his own sort of assets.
So he was the guy who accepted taking out 6 more canals on the Indus,
Right.
which would have turned Sindh into a desert. There was a protest movement and also then he backtracked. That's why the army is also upset with him. So it will be very difficult for Zardari to accept dilution of the 18th Amendment and the NFC unless they gave him such a big lollipop
Payoff.
that Bilawal Bhutto is secure for the next 20 years.
Tilak sir, what do you make of these rumors that stepping from the 26th, about the this so-called 27th Amendment coming in? Are those rumors justified? Do you think it'll happen?
So this is what the 27th about,
Yeah.
And the fact that there have also been discussions held with the leadership. Biggest whistleblower in Pakistan is Khwaja Asif.
Yeah.
He has come out and said, हाँ इस पे बात हो चुकी है, that Asim Munir has talked to Shehbaz Sharif. Shehbaz Sharif has talked to Asim Zardari on these issues, but no decision has been taken.
The 26th Amendment, how did they manage to ram it through? How did this happen?
The numbers they lacked, they got through arm twisting. Some people broke away from the PTI, cross-voted.
Right.
They got
We
their
didn't
majority.
see any major protests by the PTI that sort of stalled.
You see, the PTI, in November, they had taken a beating. Last November, because of that do or die movement, it failed. So PTI was really on the back foot. And this guy, Ali Amin Gandapur, who is
Lovely name.
who is the chief minister of KPK, he's playing dirty.
Yeah,
he's playing both sides.
Yes, there's no. It seems as if there's not a lot of unity in the PTI.
Yeah. So when we talk about Imran Khan's protest
Right.
on 5th of August, this is what the problem is.
I will get to Imran Khan's
Yeah.
protest, but I want to just zoom out a little bit more.
Yeah.
So, are you now speculating that now the steps are being taken by Pakistan to revert back to its tried and tested military dictatorship playbook?
But given a facade of constitutionality, it will not, see, as Ayub Khan told his son, Gohar Ayub, whenever the commander-in-chief gets it into his head to take control, only God above can stop him. So Munir can do a coup today.
Right.
There's nothing to hold him back.
Do you think a coup will happen?
But precisely why this? Because as it is, the economic situation is so weak, IMF bailout will stop. The US will employ sanctions if they get rid of a democratically elected government. So they know that the days of direct military coup, unless the situation is so dire,
You will not have army men climbing the walls, all that. Those visuals are going to harm Pakistan's so-called credibility.
Yeah. So he won't do that. So he will go the constitutional way. When the government is willing to tell us kya karna kya hai, they lie down anyway.
Right.
You tell us what you want.
Right. And now coming to the protest of August 5th, the August 5th has a red letter date in the subcontinent. I saw your tweet as well about that. So this protest that Imran Khan has called for his release essentially, do you think it will be successful?
It's a 50-50. First of all, I am not clear so far, will the protest begin on the 5th? Has it already begun and does it peak on the 5th? Or, as Gandapur said, we're giving a 90 days ultimatum.
Yeah, there are different voices.
They're different voices.
So what do the cadre believe?
Exactly, they are confused. That's why there is a big problem between the Punjab chapter of the PTI and the central leadership. The Punjab chapter is saying, look, Imran Khan has said 5th of August. We are going for that. These kind of protests can't be done on the spur of the moment. They have to plan transport, they have to plan for food, for sleeping.
Containers.
Containers, and no, containers government will do.
Okay.
They have to bring people onto the streets. And if you are not sure, you tell them in the morning, kal aayenge, kal aa jana. People give up their jobs. Right. They don't get earnings that day. So, it's a very tough call for them. That's why I'm not sure whether it will take place or not, or whether they will be just random street violence.
There's a lot of chatter that Imran Khan's sons might actually fly into Pakistan now and lend a face to this protest.
Yeah.
Do you think that will happen?
You see, first of all, I don't know whether they can speak Urdu. So, aake kahenge kya?
Right.
They are going to go to the US, give some interviews in the American politicians to raise awareness. Then from the US, they're supposed to come here. I think Pakistan is not giving them visas. So how do they come? Even if they come, if they don't know how to speak Urdu, how are they going to? Yes, it will certainly galvanize the public, PTI supporters, कि Imran Khan के बच्चे आए हैं, लड़के वो भी. But how do they connect with the masses?
That's a question mark.
That's a question.
While doing research on this, I did go back to a May 13th, pardon me, that the Sons did with one of these Twitter influencers, where they called for the release of their father to try and get eyeballs. And interestingly enough, what followed was Asim Munir's visit on June 18th to the White House. And then there was a website called Dropsite News. We'll put it up on the screen for our viewers over here. That did an art that said that during Trump and Munir's lunch, Imran Khan's issue also came up. Do you think that's correct?
Very difficult to say what was actually discussed and whether Trump would expend political capital on Imran Khan at this stage.
Right.
He has bigger fish to fry, I'm sure he was trying to size up both Asim Munir and the DG ISI, Asim Malik, who was there. Kya hai? He was also talking about Iran.
Sorry, going back, that's Asim Munir's number 2?
Yeah, Asim Munir, he's not number 2, but he's DG ISI and the National Security Advisor.
Right.
And if there is in November, he will be also in the running to become Army Chief. But of course, Munir is going to continue. So Rishabh will retire.
You were talking about Iran, sorry, before I...
Yeah. So I think the main thing for President Trump was to talk about logistic support for Iran. You see, before the US, even before they went into Afghanistan, the war on terror, first they made sure that there are recovery areas.
Right.
Where could American soldiers, if they were hurt, where they could be recovered, where they could get recuperation, hospital, logistic support, airfields in Pakistan for drones and aircraft. So I think that was the bigger card on the table for Trump. He could have in passing meant, because a lot of Pakistanis also supported Trump, Republicans, surprisingly. Mostly they vote Democrat. But there was a core support base for Trump. So he could have just mentioned it, but there is no certainty. There's a lot of kite-flying rumors, because people who have contributed to his campaign, they also need something in return.
Right.
So ये rumor fly कर दिया कि he has raised the Imran Khan issue.
PTI overseas supporters traditionally are Trump supporters? Is that what you're saying?
No. They are, whichever the way his wind is blowing, Pakistanis, by and large, have been supporters of the Democrats.
Okay.
Rather than the Republicans.
Okay, now coming back to the 5th August protests, recently Pakistan basically made the frontier constabulary into a federal force. Now, this is a force which is very proactive in the KPK region over there. I'm sure the PTI chief minister of that area, the provincial head of that, is probably not happy about that either.
Yeah.
So how do you see that move by Pakistan before the August 5th protest?
Yeah, so people are worried. The opposition is worried.
Can you explain what it is?
Yeah.
First of all?
So, this was a force set up about 100 years ago by the British to take care of border security. That before the army is deployed, You have another force. They also have what are called the Kasadars, which is the local tribal militia. Then you had this frontier constabulary. Then you have the army, three-tiered kind of a thing. So this task of the frontier constabulary was to look at KPK, was deployed in KPK. In Balochistan or in Sindh and in Punjab, you have different forces. You have rangers, you have the frontier corps in Balochistan. So here it was the frontier constabulary.
Under the command of?
They are officered by the army.
Right.
And
but making it into a federal force now?
Yeah, it means that it comes directly under the federal government.
Okay. So they can turn them against potential PTI protesters?
Yes, because then they can say we are using it for law and order, for security. They can deploy them anywhere. And the pretext they have given is that we are going to improve their service conditions, bring them at par with other paramilitary, raise their pay and all that. But basically it is a kind of a force. Something like what Bhutto had instituted when he was there. It was called the Federal Security Force. He had done the same kind of a thing to take care of the Pakistan National Movement, the alliance of religious parties that had got after him.
By take care, you mean quell them?
Yeah.
Yes.
Jahan bhi hai. See, what happened in Bhutto's time, very interesting case. The army was deployed and asked to open fire on the protesters. 3 brigadiers refused to fire. They were, of course, court-martialed and all that, but that's when Zia decided that if this continues, my discipline of my army is weakening. Yeah. Because a Punjabi army will not fire on a Punjabi crowd. A Pathan force will fire in Punjab. So I think a lot of these calculations have also, and just an interesting thing.
Oh, so they can be deployed to Punjab?
Yeah.
Okay, right.
Because they're a federal force now.
Federal force, correct. Yeah.
Very interesting sidelight of the PNA agitation was, so there was a ladies segment of the PNA, religious parties, who were also protesting. So Bhutto organized a force from the red light area of Lahore. They were called the Nath force. Nath, the Nath.
Right.
So he deployed them to take care of the women protesters who will take this. So it is certainly, and because I look at the timing, it comes just before the 5th of August agitation, which this has been. It could have been done 10 years ago, it could have been done a long time ago, or done later. Why now? So the opposition is justified in thinking that this is going to affect them.
5th August, now fast forwarding, if the agitation on the 5th of August fails this year, what is Asim Munir's political position then in the country?
Oh, then he is sailing.
Right. And how does India look at this now?
So just before that, you see, for Imran Khan, the circle around him is tightening. They have now no space in the National Assembly because they are deemed ineffectively, they are not a parliamentary party.
Yeah.
No hope from the judiciary anymore, so long as this constitutional court is there. So the only thing left for Imran Khan is street power. So to remain relevant in Pakistani politics, he has to demonstrate that he has some power. If he doesn't have parliamentary power or the judiciary is not supporting him, then at least on the street he has to be powerful.
His taglines, Riyasat-e-Madina and other things, are they still the glue that holds the party together?
You see, because nobody has questioned what does it actually mean on the ground. You've got Riyasat-e-Madina, you've got Naya Pakistan, you've got Tabdili. What does it mean for unemployment?
Right.
What does it mean for inflation? But the strange thing with Imran Khan is because he's a cult figure, nobody's bothered. They don't even want to know what the policies are. उसने कह दिया तो बस वो करेगा तो implement करेगा and all our problems will be taken care of. So that is the kind of
fanatical devotion.
Also, as somebody analyzed it, a reflection of the hopelessness in Pakistani society. They're desperate for a savior. And they will not question what the savior is saying. We aake improve our lot. There's hopeless. There are various Gallup surveys that have taken place. Over 62% of the population feel sense of hopelessness. About 75% feels that Pakistan has lost direction. Now, with these kind of numbers and the other political parties not being able to fill the vacuum, Imran Khan is the only guy, knight in shining armor. People feel that he will be able to do something and improve their lot.
Right.
That's
So you're seeing this rapid rise of Asim Munir. Now, just as an observer of everything that's going on over here, where do the Sharif brothers stand over here? It's for them to also, or even I think they're in the same bucket as Zardari, maybe to hold power. They quickly declared Asim Munir as field marshal. Usko fatafat promotion de do, keep him happy after the Operation Sindoor drubbing.
नहीं, not only keep him happy, keep the public happy. देखो, हम जीत के इंडिया के खिलाफ उसको फील्ड मार्शल बना दिया. It was to mask the defeat.
Yes.
You see, a person becomes a field marshal after a major victory in war.
Right.
What war or what battle did Asim Munir win? If anything, it was the Pak Air Force. If at all, if they want to claim, then the Air Force chief should have become Marshal of the Air Force. Why Asim Munir? Where was the land battle?
But वो तो उसको टैंक के ऊपर खड़ा करा दिया. Why?
AI photograph hai? I don't even know that.
No, they were both of them. He drove the jeep also. Both of them were standing on a tank and declared victory over there. Why not the runways?
So this is the same thing with Yahya Khan. So after he lost the attack on, he was attacking Khariyan and going towards this strategic Akhnur, they couldn't take it. But in the documentaries that were made, he was showing with his fist like this, onwards, and all that. Total fraud. So it's the same thing here.
Wow. Keep lying.
Yeah. The bigger the lie, the better it is believed, Famous lob of Hitler.
Yeah. And so they will approve whatever decision now Asim Munir essentially takes.
Yeah.
So we can see a steady rise and this hybrid form of almost like a military junta, right? Where he becomes a dictatorship, but the garb of a civilian leadership is also there.
Yeah.
Where do these brothers?
So they'll be happy कि हमें कुछ crumb to office table मिला ना. I am Prime Minister.
Okay.
Nawaz Sharif was here, Mariam is Chief Minister. Powers ho na ho. Army is calling the shots with an effective presidency. But at least they are there.
But it reverts back to the old situation where the president will now have an executive power.
Yeah.
Rather than the prime minister.
But I don't see Asim Munir becoming president for the sake of what?
Yeah.
He's far more powerful pulling the strings from the back. By becoming president, he wants to take control of policy. He will want to be doing action, And again, as I was, the podcast which is going to come out shortly, you see, all 4 dictators, 3 were involved in wars with India. Ayub, Yahya and Musharraf. Zia started the
Executive
terrorism.
presidency.
No, the terrorism against India.
Okay.
Now, Asim Munir has already been involved in a war with India.
Yes.
Through the Pahalgam massacres and Operation Sindoor. So that one, check mark
is there.
on his career is already there. The setback he had in the US because he had to walk. So if you link these various dots and his manipulative mindset that he thought in 2018 what he will do in 2022.
So he had a long game.
Yeah. So he's there for the long haul. And in fact, very interesting. After meeting Trump, he addressed the journalists, Pakistani and I think some foreign journalists. And he said, I will try, and this was reported in the Pak media, he said, I will try and improve Pakistan's politically, diplomatically, improve the lot before I go. And I will be here at least till 2035.
Signal was made.
2035,
Yes.
Signal was made. And he praised the US presidential system. These things have not been noticed to in the Indian media.
What is the significance of praising the US presidential system?
This is what we,
Right.
This is what we want in Pakistan.
Right. And so when eventually if he does become an executive president, as you say, there'll be a lot of hectic parleys being made in Islamabad. During that entire process and when he's finally anointed as executive president, how should India look at this? Now, you've been part of the security establishment, etc. You've been an active observer. What should our policy now be towards Pakistan?
Yeah, I think our policy has been laid on, I think it's perfect. No engagement with Pakistan unless and until they prove credibly that they've given up on terrorism. We don't need Pakistan. We don't need them for trade. We don't need them for anything. In fact, they need us. If you look at Pakistani media, especially on the TV talk shows, they're all talking about कि Pakistan का जो मुस्तकबिल है is only if we start trading with India and if we have better relations with India. If we don't have it, they're only heading south.
Status quo.
Yeah. So we were not going to do anything. Even on this Indus water, we've made it clear that बात होगी तो POK पे बात होगी और terrorism पे बात होगी. Other than that, we were not willing to talk.
Great.
So India will need to look at it very, very carefully because of the man who's in charge.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Ishan. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you all for watching. Do like, share and subscribe and look forward to the next episode when I'll be back with another anecdote. Till then, Jai Hind, Namaskar.